What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm doing my March Madness bracket challenge, so let's hop into it. And if you like this video, please consider subscribing, but I'm just going to hop straight into this bracket. In our first matchup in the East, we have number 1 seeded UConn against number 16 Stenson, and I do believe there will be upsets this tournament, but I do not think this game will be one of them. So I have UConn advancing. And then we have number 8 FAU against number 9 Northwestern, and I have Northwestern beating FAU, and it's not really an upset because it's the 8 and the 9 seed, and they're neck and neck, so not a huge upset here, but the lower seed does win. And then we have number 5 San Diego State against UAB. And once again, upsets will happen, but this is not a game that I do have an upset taking place in as San Diego State moves on to the round of 32. Then we have number 4 Auburn against number 13 Yale. And once again, not another upset game, but I do have Auburn beating Yale, advancing to the round of 32 as well to take on San Diego State. And I apologize for the quickness of this video. I realize if I talk about these games for a couple minutes each, then this video is just going to get dragged out forever. So my mindset going into this was to kind of do it with a little bit of pace. But then moving on, we have number 6 BYU against number 11 Duquesne, and this is my first upset pick of the bracket as I have number 11 Duquesne beating BYU and moving on. And then we have the Big Ten champions Illinois against Morehead State, but I have Illinois moving on right here to take on Duquesne. And then we have Washington State against Drake, the number 7 seed against the number 10. And here is another upset pick of mine as I do have Drake moving on into the round of 32 after beating Washington State. Once again, not a huge upset as like the 7 and 10 seed are pretty close, so it's not that big of a deal, but an upset nonetheless. And then our last game in the East is number 2 Iowa State against number 15 South Dakota State, and this is not an upset. I have Iowa State moving on to take on Drake in the second round. Then back up here, we have number 1 UConn against number 9 Northwestern, and UConn advances to the Sweet 16. And I think this game will probably be pretty good if this is the matchup Northwestern UConn, but I do have UConn winning it. And then we have number 4 Auburn against number 5 San Diego State. And here's another sort of upset as they are the 5th and 4th seed, so they are pretty close. But I have San Diego State beating Auburn, advancing to the Sweet 16 to play UConn. And back down to number 11 Duquesne against number 3 Illinois, and I have Duquesne going on a little Cinderella run right here, upsetting number 3 Illinois, advancing to the Sweet 16 to take on the winner of the Drake Iowa State game, which I do believe will be Iowa State. And then sadly, I do think Duquesne's Cinderella story run ends against Iowa State, moving on to take on the winner of the UConn San Diego State. And I think UConn will get upset right here as well by the number 5 seed San Diego State. And then the last two teams remaining in the East division part of the bracket or whatever it's called is number 5 San Diego State and number 2 Iowa State. And this is really a toss up at this point. I don't know who to pick. And with this being single elimination, it's really anybody's game. But I'll give the benefit of the doubt to San Diego State. They are the underdog being the lower seed here. And I always root for the underdog. So I'll have San Diego State punch their ticket to the Final Four. But then moving on over to the south side of the bracket, we have number 1 Houston against number 16 Longwood. And once again, I have the number 1 seed winning this game. Then we have number 8 Nebraska against number 9 Texas A&M. And this could really go either way. It's the 8 and the 9 seed. Probably be a close game. And I have Texas A&M coming out on top against Nebraska. Then we have number 5 Wisconsin against number 12 James Madison. And James Madison's only lost like 3 games this season. And they've just kind of had a special past year or so, not only in basketball, but also in football. Just a lot of good vibes around them. So I have them pulling off the upset against Wisconsin here, punching their ticket to the next round, going against the winner of the Duke-Vermont game. And I don't think Duke's going to have much trouble beating Vermont. But hey, anything is possible in this tournament. But I don't think Vermont stands much of a chance against Duke. Then we have number 6 Texas Tech against number 11 NC State. And I do have Texas Tech winning this game, advancing to the next round. Then we have number 3 Kentucky against number 14 Oakland. Once again, a blue blood of college basketball. Kentucky, I think, punches their ticket to the next round with relative ease. Then we have number 7 against the winner of the Boise, Colorado game. But regardless of who wins that game, I do think Florida will win this matchup. And then down here we have Western Kentucky against Marquette. And I have number 2 seed Marquette advancing, beating Western Kentucky here in the first round. Then back up here we have Houston against Texas A&M, a battle of 2 Texas schools. And I have Houston winning this game against A&M. And then we have Duke against James Madison. And despite James Madison's upset of number 5 Wisconsin, I don't think they'll make it past Duke, setting up a Duke and Houston match. in the Sweet 16. And then we have Texas Tech against Kentucky, and I do have Kentucky pulling this game out. Then we have Florida and Marquette, and I have Florida pulling off the upset against Marquette, knocking them out of the tournament. And then we have Duke against Houston, the number 1 against the number 4 seed, and I do have Houston knocking off Duke and sending them packing. Then we have number 3 Kentucky against number 7 Florida, and once again I have Florida knocking off another higher seeded team in Kentucky, and they punch their ticket to play Houston. But I think Florida's, I'm not even going to call it a miracle run or anything like that, because they are seeded 7th, and that's pretty respectable. But I do have them falling to Houston here in the next round. Then moving on over to the west part of the bracket, we have North Carolina playing the 16th seed, the winner. And I don't think it matters who's going to win this game, as I have North Carolina to the second round. Then we have number 8 Mississippi State against number 9 Michigan State, and I do have Michigan State advancing, beating Mississippi State. Then we have number 5 St. Mary's against number 12 Grand Canyon, and I do have St. Mary's winning this game. Then we have number 4 Alabama against number 13 Charleston. I do have Alabama winning this game as well. Then we have number 6 Clemson against number 11 New Mexico. And here's another upset, as I have New Mexico knocking off Clemson here in the first round. Then we have number 3 Baylor against number 14 Colgate. And once again, I have another upset taking place right here, as Baylor will lose in the first round, as Colgate goes on to play New Mexico in the second round. Then we have number 7 Dayton against number 10 Nevada, and I do have Dayton winning against the number 10 seed. Then we have number 2 Arizona against number 15 Long Beach State, and I do have Arizona winning this game, going up against Dayton in the second round. So back up top here, we have North Carolina against Michigan State, and I do have North Carolina moving on to the next round. Then we have St. Mary's against Alabama, but I do have Alabama moving on to take on North Carolina. Then we have number 11 New Mexico against number 14 Colgate, and I have New Mexico winning this round of the bracket. And then we have 7 Dayton against number 2 Arizona, and I have Arizona moving on to the next round to take on New Mexico. Then with our North Carolina-Alabama match, I have Alabama pulling off the upset against North Carolina, sending them home early. Well, it's not really that early. It's already like the third round of the tournament, but either way, I know they got a championship on their mind, so anything short of that is early. So Alabama sends them packing, moves on to take on the winner of the New Mexico-Arizona series. Or it's not even a series, it's a one-game set. So the winner of this game, which I think it will be Arizona, so it'll be Alabama, Arizona, and I have Arizona beating Alabama, punching their ticket to the Final Four. So the last division we have is the Midwest Division. We have number 1 Purdue against the 16 seed. I want to say it's Montana State and Grambling State. Either way, I think Purdue's going to get out of the first round. Purdue definitely has a chance to win it all this year, but I do think they'll pretty easily make it out of the first round. Then we have Utah State against TCU, and I do have TCU winning, kind of pulling off the upset again. It's a 9 seed beating an 8 seed, so nothing really special there. Then we have number 5 Gonzaga against 12 McNeese, and I do have Gonzaga winning this game. Then we have number 4 Kansas against number 13 Samford. Kansas, I have them winning this game as well. Then we have number 6 South Carolina against number 11 Oregon, and I already clicked South Carolina as I have them winning this game against Oregon. Then we have number 3 Creighton against number 14 Akron, and as much as I would like Akron to win, I don't think it's going to happen, as I have Creighton advancing to the second round to take on South Carolina. Then we have number 7 Texas taking on the winner of the UVA CSU game. Those schools' abbreviations aren't clicking in my head right now, so I apologize for that, but I do have Texas winning, so it doesn't really matter. Then we have number 2 Tennessee against number 15 St. Peter's, and this might be one of the biggest upsets of the tournament, as I think Tennessee is going to get sent home in the first round by St. Peter's. So here in the second round, we have number 1 Purdue against TCU. Purdue keeps their championship hopes alive and wins this game. Then we have number 5 Gonzaga against number 4 Kansas, and I think Gonzaga will win this game. Once again, not really an upset. 5 and 4 seed, they're pretty close, so not really a huge upset. Then we have 6 seed South Carolina against Creighton, and I think Creighton will win this game, send South Carolina home. Then we have Texas against St. Peter's, and I do have Texas winning this game to take on Creighton. Then we have Purdue against Gonzaga, and I think this is going to be another upset game right here. Gonzaga pulling off the win, beating Purdue, awaiting the winner of the Creighton-Texas game, which I think might be Creighton. So I have them going against Gonzaga, and Gonzaga winning this game, punching their ticket to the Final Four. So as it stands, my Final Four are number 5 San Diego State against number 2 Arizona, and then number 1 Houston against number 5 Gonzaga. And I could be completely wrong. That's the fun of March Madness, is I could have gotten every single one of these wrong. I don't know if anybody's ever really had a completely correct bracket, but so this is mine. Let me know what you guys think. If you agree with some of these upsets, if you disagree with anything, let me know down below. I'm sorry for not giving like too much in depth. Like I said earlier, I'm just trying to make this video not drag on forever and ever. But anyway, Final Four in Glendale, Arizona, we have San Diego State against Arizona. And I have Arizona punching their ticket to the finals, taking on the winner of the Houston Gonzaga game. And I do believe Gonzaga's season will come to an end against Houston as they punch their ticket to the championship. So number 1 seed Houston against number 2 Arizona. Really up in the air. It's a coin flip. All these games are really a coin flip. It's college basketball. Anything can happen. And I think Arizona will win. Nobody wants to see a number 1 seed team win it all. So I have Arizona winning it. I didn't have this pre-planned. I just did all this on the fly. So let me know what you guys think. If you agree with this, if you like this bracket, if you hate this bracket, let me know. If you like the video, please consider subscribing. Make sure you leave a like. I just now realized that there is a tiebreaker question for how many total points will be scored in the championship game. So off the top of my head, I know college basketball, I know it's going to be more than one, but I know they don't really score too many, so I figure it'll probably be around the 80s. So what's 80 and 80s? Like 160. So we'll just throw like 157 ish, I guess. I'm not sure. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you with another video at some point in time. But hope you all have a good day. God bless.